All right, today what we're going to do is we're going to go over the Arturia MiniFreak Modulation Matrix. And for all intents and purposes, it's pretty much the same as the MicroFreaks Modulation Matrix, but there are a few key differences. So let's go ahead and take a look. Okay, so the MiniFreak Modulation Matrix works pretty much the exact same way as the MicroFreaks Modulation Matrix, with the exception of a couple of things, which I'll cover as the video progresses. So, how does the modulation matrix work? Well, just like this. What you'll do is you'll turn this encoder dial, and let's just say I highlight LFO number 1 and I have it target the wave. If I press down on the encoder and turn the encoder dial to the right, what I can do is I can activate the attenuator, or the amount of the modulator. So just think of it as an attenuator, or the degree to which the modulator will be effective. So right now I have it set for 100. Okay, so now if I press this key, the LFO is going to change the wave shape. All right, so now let's change the rate of the LFO. Let's change the waveform. Oh, and by the way, this parameter is actually really cool. I'll cover that in a separate video. That's a topic in and of itself, that last waveform. But either which way, that is how the modulation matrix works. So, what about these assignables? So, what does this mean? Assign 1, assign 2, assign 3. Well, those are your assignable parameters. So let's see here. Oh, and one other thing, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to press this node again, and so now I can move it again. In this mode, you change the amount. If you press it again, you're now free to move the node again and select yet another parameter. So another thing that you can do is, if you dial back to the original node and you press and hold the matrix button, or the matrix dial, you'll erase that parameter. So now we're in our neutral state. So this time around, let's just say, if I want to change the shape of my waveform. Well, you see, there is no parameter for shape, but what we can do is we can turn our node to assignment number 1. Okay, so we can go underneath LFO number 1, and we hover over assignment. We'll just press the dial it up to 100%. Okay, now what we'll do is we'll press and hold the assignment button, and then just simply turn the shape knob. So now LFO 1 now controls the shape. See if I can give it a neutral position. So now you can hear the effect of LFO1 on the shape. Okay, so like I mentioned before, the MiniFreak modulation matrix is pretty much the same as the MicroFreaks. There is one interesting little thing that you can do with it. Actually, a couple of things. Number one, you have not 6 pages. You now have access to 6 assignable parameters. So ostensibly there are only 3. However, if you hold shift, what you can do is, if you hold shift, what you can do is you can navigate between your pages. So right here, what's happening is that assignment number 1, page 1, has 3 parameters, 3 assignments. If I hold shift and I hit assign 2, that gives me access to 3 additional parameters. And then here, if I choose page 3, then I have yet another 3 parameters to which I can modify. So just by holding shift, just by holding shift and pressing the assignment buttons, you can flip between your pages, and you can have as many as 9 assignables, 3 assignables per page, 3 pages, 9 assignables. So there we have it. Okay, the other thing I want to point out is now you have the capability of assigning an assignment to an assignment. So let me explain what that means. So remember when I turned this dial over to the assignment 1 node, press the node, and then from there I was able to dial in the amount. I dialed it to 100%. Well, we can use an assignment to change the amount, and let's take a look at that because the way I'm describing it right now might be a little confusing, but once I show you what I mean, it'll make all the sense in the world, and it's actually pretty cool. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go to assignment number 2 here. Let's see here. Oh, I'm still here in this mode, so I'm going to press this button. All right, so let's see here. Well, actually, let's do this. So, here's what I'm going to do. What I'm going to do is I'm going to turn my node, and I'm going to flip it over back to the original node. So basically, I have 2 nodes that are going to overlap one another. Okay, now, with that being said, what I'm going to do is I'm going to press and hold assignment number 2 as I hover over. So let's see if I can make this make sense. Okay. Well, let's see here. There we are. Okay. I think I just did it. Okay, so there we are. Okay, so what I just did was I assigned assignment number 2 to assignment number 1. So I'll do that one more time. Let's see. I'll take this node, assignment number 2, hold it, and assign it to assignment number 1. Just like that. So instead of turning a knob, all I'm doing is instead of holding the button and turning a knob, what I'm doing is I'm holding the button and turning the matrix dial back to assignment number 1. So I've assigned assignment number 2 has been assigned to assignment number 1's amount. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to give assignment number 2 a source. So here's how it's going to work. I'm going to turn my node again down to assignment number 2, and this time around I'm going to dial it over to the modulation wheel, and then I'll just click there, and then let's see, and then I'll dial my amount in to, hold on, yep, there we are. I'll dial in my amount to 100%. Now, one thing to note, What I'll have to do now is, because LFO1 is set, because LFO1's amount is set to 100%, I have to go back to the original node, I have to go back to the original node, press it, and dial it down to 0. Because now my modulation wheel is going to take over that parameter. Okay, we're good to go now. Now watch this. So now the modulation wheel controls the amount of modulation from one assignment to the next. It's actually a pretty cool feature that they added here. So there we have it, the MiniFreak Modulation Matrix. Okay guys, so that pretty much does it for the MiniFreak Modulation Matrix. Again, I hope that that was helpful for you guys. If you guys have any more questions about anything MiniFreak related, please feel free to leave them in the comments. Until then, I'll talk with you later. Thanks.